Hey y'all, Rachel Crawford here. I want to share with you today a super cool technique called Orizomegami. It is the Japanese art of folding paper and then dipping the paper into dye. And when you unfold, it creates these incredible patterns. So I thought I would share this with you. It is super easy to do and very fun. Easy for kids. This is a great project to do with kids. It's also, these papers make beautiful book covers, papers for collage, wrapping paper. I mean, the possibilities are literally endless for the application of these papers. So let me show you the supplies that I have, and then we will get started. So I'm using rice paper. Rice paper is the best paper. This is a giant pad of rice paper, and this is smaller. So rice paper, it's really thin. You do have to be careful with it when it's wet. It has a smooth side and a rough side. What it's traditionally used for is calligraphy. A lot of times people use sumi ink on it, which is a very dark black ink, and paint, calligraphy type painting and mark making. So it usually comes in pads, or this is loose sheets that came in a pack. So the inks I am using today, I'm using a hodgepodge of ink. I've got Liquitex acrylic ink, and I've also got some FW acrylic ink, and I've got the Bombay India ink. So the difference between these inks is the acrylic ink has acrylic in it, and the Bombay, the India ink does not have acrylic in it, but they're both permanent. So the benefit of using something that's permanent is if I wanted to glue this down to book covers, or tear this up and use it in collage with decoupage or matte medium, the ink is permanent, so it's not going to bleed when I paint over it with a, sticky, gluey medium. If this were watercolor, the watercolor would actually reconstitute and get smudgy. So that's the benefit. Can you do this process with watercolor? Absolutely. You just would want it to be a standalone piece on its own. I would not recommend using watercolor if you plan to use it in collage or glue with it. So that's my 2 cents on that. So let's get started. I'm going to fold a sheet. I'll probably do 2 of them to show you, because there's two different methods that I know of for this process. So you start off by turning this whole sheet into a fan. So I'm going to fold it in half, and this paper, the rice paper, it's actually not perfect. I don't know if you can see, but it's got hangover here. Like the sides are straight, but the edges aren't. Don't worry about that. Just go with it. There's nothing you can do about it anyways. So once I've folded it in half, I'm just going to keep folding it into like edge to edge until I've got a full fan. So I'm just going back and forth, and I might have to reverse some folds. We will see. Gonna come inwards again. And it doesn't matter how you get to your fan shape, just get to the fan shape. That's the most important part is that you have a fan, because the fan is what, you know, or accordion. I generally like to call this accordion, but you know, if you do this, then it's a fan. So here we have it. I'm gonna go with, I actually could fold every fold one more time, and it would give me some teeny tiny shapes, which I can show you what that looks like, because I've got one where I did that. Okay, so then you're taking the whole fan and you're folding it in half, and then I'm just folding each side in to where I have turned basically my accordion into an accordion. So that's it. This is how we begin. So I already have some inks laid out. I want to show you, so I'm going to add a hot pink one into this. What this actually is, I found this in my parents' antique store. It's not antique, but it's a deviled egg tray, and it makes the perfect palette, y'all. So it's just, it's ceramic. It's the inks wash right out of it without staining. It's really awesome. So, I mean, and it's cute, right? How cute is this? So I put some fresh ink out of the jar into here, and I like to just add a T9C bit of water with this. I think this is called a pipit, right? I think this is some blue that I added, and I'm just putting a couple drops of water into that because I didn't do that earlier, and clean the pipit, and then I'm just gonna roll this around. Just giving it a mixy-loo. Okay, so you can test, like, just test a corner to see how bright, being like if you added water, which I do like to add water. It just sometimes the ink, especially the acrylic ink, it comes out really thick, and so watering it down lets the ink go further. This color, I actually mixed myself with this sap green, and then I added a touch of this yellow to it just to brighten it, just to give it a little, make it a little brighter. So I'm good. I'm good with how those look. I just want to test this one. Super vibrant and super vibrant. All right, so there's a couple of ways you could do this. So here's my paper all folded up. I can dip directly into the ink, which I'm going to show you how that goes. And you can see it starts to soak in immediately. I can also dip into water first, let the water soak into the paper, then go in, and I get a whole different dispersion. Can you see that? This is a super crisp, clean line, and this is like a dispersed, it's dispersed, which is really awesome. Like when this gets unfolded in the end, it's gonna be really cool. So that's two ways you can do it. I am actually gonna play with both of those ways on this one. So I dipped it into the water. I'm going to dip it again just to get more water. I'm going to go into the hot pink. I love the hot pink. And let that disperse. And then I'm going to go into the yellow and let it be the same as this green right here. Okay. I am satisfied with this. So you want to unfold it very carefully before you let it dry. So pretty much as soon as you're done, and don't worry, you're gonna get inky fingers, and that's okay. You might even transfer a little ink to some white spaces on the paper. It's okay too. The importance of unfolding it to let it dry is if I let it dry closed, look at this, y'all. It's so pretty. If you let it dry folded up, it can stick to itself and it'll dry that way and then it'll tear. It just won't unfold for you. So this is how it comes out. The wet spots obviously will completely dry. It'll have more white. So the gray that you see is just the wet paper. I am going to set this aside. I'm going to set it aside. I'm just going to set it on the floor real fast. Okay. And now I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to, just in case if there's ink on my tabletop, which there was, I'm just cleaning it. Okay. I want to show you another method, which is actually folding it. Same fan. You're always going to start off with this fan fold each time. It's how you can fold it different ways in the end. Oh, and I'm going to have to reverse. So I've got to, if you end up like this, you just reverse a fold. If you end up with a fold, so let me fold this way. I think when you always fold inwards, you end up with a straight up accordion, and you don't have to reverse anything. But sometimes, you know, you fold in a wrong direction, you just reverse it. Okay, so here we go. Here's my accordion. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start from this end. And it comes out wonky. Sometimes it doesn't, like by the time, I'm going to fold in a triangular pattern. By the time I get to the end, it might not be as beautiful as it is when I start off. And that's okay. It's just because see, I'm getting off right here. It's just because it's going to get thicker. It's going to get a little off with your folds, but no big deal. Just keep going. Wait, where am I? This way, this way, this way. Sometimes I get right. Okay, here we are. Football. It's like folding a paper football, kind of. Do people still do that? Paper footballs were a big deal. It's how you pass notes in class when you were, oh, what am I doing? This way. When I was in school, paper football, you know, it's a perfect way to pass a note to your friend who's on the other side of the classroom. Okay, you can see how kind of like this is like seriously wonktastic because I'm longer on this end. It doesn't matter. The pattern is still going to come out super cool. And the same applies. So I'm gonna go into some water first just to get that dispersion. Woo! Look at that. This is so much fun. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. Okay, I'm gonna make this one. So I'm gonna disperse. I'm gonna do a lot of dispersing on this one with this natural, and I think I'm going to hit some pink, and then I'm going to show you something that I'm going to do. I just said pink, I meant yellow. Okay, so I did not disperse the yellow. Now, something I could do is I could dip the yellow, like if I change my mind and I'm like, no, I want it to disperse, I can dip it in and it will then disperse. But what I want to do is I've got white here and I just want to dip, I'm going to dip hot pink. So I'm just going to set this right here real fast. No, I'm going to go with a darker color. Let's do this turquoise because I think this will be kind of dynamic. I'm just going to dropper onto the dry white paper some turquoise. I hope you can, I just dipped it. I'm just letting it dip into there. Making sure it just kind of, just opening the folds to make sure it gets in there. Okay, so let me cap this off and let's unfold. I love the unfolding. All right, I'm just making sure my fingers are fairly dry from ink. All right, very delicately, remember you want to unfold because the paper can tear. I have torn it trying to open it just a little bit. It doesn't necessarily make the paper unusable. Oh, this is so pretty. So pretty. Oh my goodness, this is, because I dipped this a lot in the water, it's very saturated. So I'm just being very, very careful. All right, I have one more fold over on this side. Which way does it go? Here we go. Okay. And you can see, oh, sorry, y'all. I know I just got wonky with the camera. Very interesting. So here it is. The blue somehow did not soak all the way through over here. It's okay though. It's still really awesome. You can tell that this is the side where I dropped, you know, this was probably the outer fold where I dropped the ink in. But y'all, this is so cool. So when this dries, it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Dropping that on the floor. And so here I wanted to show you, let me get this. I had a lot of ink right here. Okay. This is one where, this is a larger sheet, but I just wanted to show you, is this one where I folded really tiny? Gosh, maybe I folded tiny because it was a bigger sheet. Yeah, this was a big sheet. So the bigger sheets, you can fold them a little smaller. I know this looks exactly the same size as the smaller sheet, but it technically was smaller folds. So it gives you tighter, a tighter design as compared to this. So this one I folded and I left it large, as you can see. So let me just show you the difference. They're pretty easy to, the creases kind of don't go away until you glue them down or, you know, like collage them. But you can see this was a wider, it was wider than the skinny. So you do get a different pattern based on how skinny you make your accordion fold. You get a whole different look. I actually kind of prefer the smaller folds, I think because I like the tight pattern. So that is that. It is called Orizomegami. I hope you give this a try. It's a ton of fun, and try it with different papers. I've actually never tried it with anything other than rice paper. So I don't know how it would respond to other papers. I know that it works beautifully with rice paper, mainly because rice paper is meant for holding water and ink. So it just soaks up really good. But y'all, play, explore, try other papers, see what happens. You know, fold up copy paper and see if it works with copy paper. Try it with watercolors, try it with other mediums and other things. The key is just to ask the question, what if I do this and what if I try that? Experiment, play, and most of all, have fun. Happy creating, y'all.